What's going on, guys and gals? Welcome to, what do you call this? Let's Play?
So this series I've been doing on my own from the start.
Yes.
I call it All In.
All In. Yeah, the All In.
That's what she said.
Let's Play is your video games, which we'll do more of.
Haven't done those in a while.
No, All In is when you listen to an entire, discography?
Yeah, so my rules go like this. So it has to be, so you pick a band, you listen to their entire discography. It must be 5 or more studio albums. Cover albums can be included. No acoustics, no live tracks unless the tracks are originally recorded that way.
Right.
And basically the deal is we listen to the whole thing, we discuss each album, our thoughts on it, and then we break it up into eras, give our favorites and least favorites of each era.
Absolutely. And so his first one was with Kiss.
We did Kiss, and then after that, Rush, and then we also did Iron Maiden and AC/DC.
Iron Maiden and AC/DC. So I decided to jump on his coattails, yes.
So this is like episode 5 of this series.
Yeah. So I decided to go with one of my all-time favorite artists of all time, the godfather of shock rock himself, Mr. Alice Cooper. Love Alice Cooper.
So this is more him. He listened to the whole discography. I didn't.
Yeah.
So this is more like his video.
20-some goddamn albums.
How many albums would you say? Let's wiki this shit.
Yeah, wiki that shit while I talk about it. But Alice Cooper, he dates all the way back to 1968 with the Alice Cooper Band. Now, I listened to all of it on Spotify. I do have some physical copies of it, but it's mostly the 80s, but we'll get to that. All I can really say about his 80 or 68, 69 albums...
You said 69.
I did. Pretty's for You and Easy Action. Not much more to say about that, except they are very short albums.
Okay, so, yeah, it says here Pretty's for You was in 69.
69? Okay, this says 68. Okay, 69, sorry. But that's only 38 minutes. That's one thing I will say about Alice Cooper. All of his discs are very compact.
29 albums.
29 albums. They're compact, very easy to listen to. They will not take much of your time. The most time that I've seen, I thought Hey Stupid was the longest album. But no, there's other albums out there.
So his discography ranged from Pretty's for You in 69 all the way to 2023 with his release Road.
Yes.
So holy shit, that's a lot of studio albums.
That is a lot of albums, and he's not really played much on regular radio except for...
And he's like the one only rocker that beat out Ozzy as far as like how many years they put out studio albums. Like if you figure Ozzy, he was with Black Sabbath. 70 they put out Black Sabbath, and then all the way to 2022 he did Patient Number 9. So he literally beat out Ozzy by a year on both ends.
So yeah, 68, 69, Alice Cooper. Sounds more like a Beatles. What was the other band that we said they sounded more like?
Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd, almost. So very psychedelic sound in the 69's era, which of course makes sense because that was the drug era. Everybody was doing drugs. But it was Love It to Death in 1970. That's when he broke out with 2 of his bigger hits, The Ballad of Dwight Fry, and of course I'm 18, which... If you're a rocker and you didn't listen to that when you turned 18, you're not a rocker.
That was an anthem that lasted for generations, though. Like, even our generation used to embrace that anthem.
Absolutely.
Between that one and School's Out, they were like the 2 anthems he did.
Killer was released in 1971. Big hit on that one was Under My Wheels. Great song on that one. I'm not going to go through all the single songs on there because there's so many he did. And in fact, I've heard stories that Alice Cooper even said that some of those songs... probably were not going to be hits, so he never released them. Which
I would say his band era would be like Ozzy's Sabbath era.
Exactly.
That was from 69 to 73, and then in 75 with Welcome to My Nightmare, that was his solo.
That was his solo stuff. School's Out was in 1972, of course, title track, School's Out.
Everybody knew this song.
If you didn't listen to that song on the last day of school, you're not a rocker. After that, Muscle of Love, $1 Billion Babies. Another great title track, $1 Billion Babies. Of course, yeah, 75, Welcome to My Nightmare. Title track. What else can I say? Welcome to my nightmare.
I feel like his solo stuff wasn't as popular as his band stuff when he started on his solo.
Not at the beginning, which was kind of shocking because he was always like the front man no matter what. But one thing, again, I will say about Alice Cooper, every one of his songs, very easy to listen to. It's not harsh, it's not like growling, it's not emphasis on the guitars or the drums or anything like that. The vocals are very clean, very easy to listen to, very simple to memorize. So you're going to sit back, maybe with a drink in your hand, and listen to some Alice Cooper over the week. Alice Cooper Goes to Hell, 1975. Not much really to go there. It's 1975. It's psychedelics. It sounds like a 70s album.
He had a song that, I think he had that, like, that was like the title track too. He had a song called Go to Hell.
Go to Hell was the first one. I'm Always Chasing Rainbows. And there's always euphemism in his song too. It's either something to do with the devil or sex, or as is rock and roll. Lace and Whiskey, 1976. Then From the Inside, 1977. We're in the psychedelic phase. All sounds 70s. Flush the Fashion in 1980. Still hadn't hit that heavy metal vibe yet. We're still
or the hairband vibe.
Or the hairband vibe. That comes much later. Again, there's not much really to say about these other albums because they all kind of fit the same genre.
I kind of had an afterthought after the start of the Party album. Would you say Alice Cooper was part of who started the Party, or maybe he walked into the Party?
I think
in the mid-80s.
I think he walked into it, and we'll get to that. But in 80, he released like 3 different albums. 80, 81, Flush the Fashion, Special Forces, Zipper Catches Skin, and Dada in 1982. But it's 1985 when things get interesting, because that's when the hairband scene was really big. That's when he released Constrictor.
That's a good album.
I was this is showing my age. I was walking through hills.
Oh, yeah. How long ago has that been?
Way too long. If you don't know hills, you haven't lived.
Or you weren't born yet.
Yeah. But I was walking through hills. We walked past the music section. I saw Constrictor. The picture is Alice Cooper with a boa constrictor or a python in his mouth. And I thought, that's fucking cool. I bought the album because one of my one of my favorite songs was on there. He's Back, the Man Behind the Mask from Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. One of my all-time favorites.
So that's where that song originated from?
Yes. He wrote the song for that movie.
That song kind of has a weird vibe. It's not like really metal. It kind of has a pop vibe to it. But
it does, because again,
it's oddly cool though.
The hairband scene was starting to go up, and I think to myself, he probably changed his style a little bit to get in on that.
Angry Video Game Nerd used that song in one of his videos.
Yeah, love that song. It's a great song. The entire album is great. This is where I really started becoming an Alice Cooper fan. Now, that's not my first album I ever bought from him. This was years and years ago afterwards. But 86, Raise Your Fist and Yell.
Oh, yeah, another good album.
This is where I truly feel Alice started making stories out of his albums. Because all of his albums kind of tell a coherent story. Raise Your Fist and Yell tells 2 stories. Side A is the rebellious nature of rock and roll with freedom, lock me up, give the radio back, step on you. They're like very anti-authority, like you're not going to tell us what to fucking do, we're rock and rollers. Side B, however, Prince of Darkness, Time to Kill, Chop Chop Chop, Roses on White Lace, that is the album of a serial killer. No other way to describe it. He basically has killed people and is hiding the bodies.
But you know what? The people kept telling him what to do, and he said, fuck this.
Fuck this, I'm going to chop you up. But Raise Your Fist and Yell, not a huge commercial success, but when I first heard that years later, I thought, oh my god, this is fucking amazing stuff.
I didn't discover this album until I borrowed it from you one time, in later years. Like, I didn't know anything until Trash. Yeah. Honestly.
Prince of Darkness was kind of a compilation of both Constrictor and Raise Your Fist and Yell. So, didn't really do that because it's all the same songs. However, dog,
Yeah. We get to where I discovered it.
1989.
Trash!
The height of the hairband era. Alice releases Trash. Holy shit, what an album.
My dad even had the album, and we played the shit out of it.
Trash is pure sex.
Love on a bed of nails.
Every single song is about Alice getting laid. The videos, the music videos themselves is Alice getting laid.
Would you say this would be his most commercially popular album ever?
I would say yes. Commercially.
Because even pop stations played Poison.
I think commercially this is probably his biggest album. But as far as fan-wise, we'll get to that one. That one's coming next. But Poison, if you listen to it, it almost sounds like it has like a double negative or double entendre to it. Because the song is essentially about drug abuse. Like, the poison, like you shoot poison in your veins. That's drugs. Like, all of the shit is like drug addiction. Your cruel device, your blood like ice. One look could kill. Like, you're looking at a joint or you're looking at cocaine. And you do it and you're like, okay, I can't, like, I want to stop you, but I can't. But at the same time, it'd also be a woman. Women are poison. Don't worry. Believe me. House of Fire. Pure sex. Wanting to get laid. Bed of Nails. Pure sex. Wanting to get laid.
Oh yeah, Children of Bodom actually did a cover of that one. They did that cover, and then who was it? Powerwolf recently did a cover of Poison.
Ah, that's cool. House of Fire is probably my favorite song off that album. I mean, Trash is one of the... Ironically, the title song, Trash, my least favorite of the entire album.
You didn't like the title?
Didn't like it. It was alright. It was good, but it's not my favorite out of all of them. But 1991, this is where Alice started taking a little bit of breaks here and there. Because 89 to 91, he took a break to tour. Commercially, Trash is probably his most successful. But fan popularity, I think this album was number one, Hey Stupid. This, to me, is my favorite Alice Cooper album. Like, near the very end of the hairband era, Alice comes out, he gets all the big stars. He gets Steve Vai from Whitesnake to come in and do the guitars. And you could tell because the guitar licks on some of these songs are amazing. But again, tells a story. Hey Stupid, it's about drug abuse. You've got Love's a Loaded Gun, which is kind of like not a bluesy song, but it's...
It almost sounds like a ballad, though. A little bit.
You could say that. If it's one of those songs that I could see Alice sitting on a stool and a guy behind him with an acoustic guitar, and he could just sing that song. And it would sound great.
I could see that.
My favorite song off of that is Might As Well Be on Mars. That's a power ballad, but it's an amazing song. Little by Little is a great song too. Die For You. I mean, the whole album. Hey Stupid is one of those albums I could listen to back to back. Never get tired of it. Ever. Now, this one is interesting. The Last Temptation in 1994.
We're in grunge era now.
We are in grunge era, but when you listen to this album, it doesn't sound like a grunge album or even a hair metal band. It's almost like he regresses back to the 70s. Have you heard The Last Temptation?
I have.
So, does that kind of make sense the way I'm saying it? Like, if you listen to that album and somebody told you it was made in the 1970s, you could probably believe it.
Yeah, if I didn't see the year of the album, I would say so.
Just the way that the music is played, the way it's laid out.
I could almost compare this to Rush, because I did my all-in on Rush, and they also survived all those times, all those eras, while sticking to their own format.
Yeah, another cool thing about it.
I would say, like, Alice Cooper did the same thing.
Alice Cooper is one of those. He never changed his style to fit in with the times.
I would say, like, he did fit in with the hair bands.
But
other than that, he didn't try to.
Yeah, but when grunge came around, he's like...
Or nu metal.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not doing that.
He didn't even try for nu metal either.
Yeah. Last Temptation, the kind of the overarching story of that is the story of somebody who sells their soul or is being tempted by the devil, because the entire album, one of the tracks, Nothing's Free, is the devil. Basically saying, I will give you whatever you want. I will give you your heart's desire. But, you know, I'm not giving you to it for free. Nothing's free. I own your soul now. And throughout the album, they just keep telling the story. And at the very end, the song Cleansed by Fire is my interpretation. Alice Cooper saying, no, fuck you, devil. You're not taking me to hell. I can beat you. I don't need you anymore. Get the fuck away from me. If you listen to the entire album, it kind of makes sense. It's a very comprehensive story. Fistful of Alice is a live compilation. He takes a break from 94 into 2003.
I remember Brutal Planet.
Brutal Planet.
Was this where he got like real fucking heavy?
Yeah. The first track of that album, Brutal Planet, when you first hear like, oh, it's Alice Cooper, this is going to sound cool, you hear the drums go, and then, the fuck is this? Is this Alice Cooper? And he starts singing like, yeah, it's Alice Cooper. This is as pure metal as he ever got. Like hardcore metal. Not like thrashing guitars or anything loud like that. It's pure Alice Cooper. But my God, every song just hits so hard. Sorry, I'm thirsty.
Time for more beer.
Yeah, almost. Brutal Planet is the story of the apocalypse. Like, if the world ended and mankind kills itself and hell reigns on earth, that's Brutal Planet. Like, every song is just so fucking depressing. There is no lively songs in Brutal Planet, believe me. Wicked Young Man is one of his biggest ones on that. Talking about this kid wanting to go shoot up a school. Very controversial at the time.
Yeah, we had Columbine happen right about that time.
Yeah, Pick Up the Bones is a story about a guy who, like, saw his home destroyed, his family killed from within by who knows what, and he has to pick up their bones. Like, imagine how depressing that must be. Like, if you're the survivor of your own, you're the only survivor of your family, you're going through your burned, dilapidated house, picking up the bones of your family. That's fucked up. This is a very unapologetic album, and I loved it. Dragontown, same year, 2003. But this is a little different. This is where he starts jumping back and forth to eras, because there's some heavy songs on here, but then you get some kind of 70-ish feels. But the one song that I do have to talk about, Disgraceland, where Alice puts on a phenomenal rendition of an Elvis Presley impression. Because he basically sings about Elvis Presley becoming famous and killing himself through being fat and not taking care of himself. But he's there, he's like, I won't tell you a story about long ago. Like, he's crooning like Elvis.
It sounds like the kind of shit that the Melvins do.
Yeah.
They sort of like bustle and shit like that.
I almost want to see Alice Cooper in a jumpsuit with the sideburns and everything like that. But one of the lines in the song is really funny. He's like, he ate his weight in country ham, killed on pills and woke in disgrace land. Like, how could you not like that? So from 2005 on, I will say, most of Alice's albums start sounding kind of the same, where they have that 70s vibe to it, with a little infusion of the 80s and 90s.
Well, didn't he do a sequel album at some point called Welcome to My Nightmare, number 2?
He did sequel to Welcome to My Nightmare. That's actually pretty good. That's more of a 70s vibe. Dirty Diamonds was in 2005. That has a 70s vibe to it. Along Came a Spider in 2008. I own this album, and I will admit I did not give it enough credit the first time I heard it, because I think he changed too much, because I was used to Brutal Planet and Dragontown, and then he went back to his roots. And I thought, this isn't very good, but the second time listening to it for this, I've now grown to appreciate it, and it's now on my playlist. I like Along Came a Spider. Really good album if you've never heard of it. Yeah, Welcome to My Nightmare in 2011. He did do some work with the Hollywood Vampires. That's Johnny Depp's band. I didn't listen to those because of the compilations, but I'm going to go back and listen to them. Paranormal in 2017. Rise in 19. Detroit Stories in 21. Bunch of live albums. Road, and 2024, Wikipedia needs to update their shit. 2024 is his latest album, Breadcrumbs, which is only like a 24 minutes.
It's like an EP.
Yeah, 26 minutes. So, if you have Spotify, you could go on and listen to the entire Alice Cooper library within maybe 5 hours. Because, like I said, the longest tracks or the longest albums are 56 minutes. Everything else is averaging about 30 to 40 minutes. So, Spotify, just put Alice Cooper albums and just, boom, listen to them all. On a long road trip. If you're driving to Florida or Kentucky or wherever, and you got 5 hours to kill if you're an Alice Cooper fan. But, my one regret, before I close this up, is this.
You want to go to Milwaukee?
Yes, which is Algonquin for the good land. Thank you, Alice. My one regret so far in life is I have never seen Alice Cooper live in concert.
And he's still performing live.
He is still performing. I am making it my mission. If he gets anywhere close to Pennsylvania, I'm going. I don't care where it is. I'm going because the man cannot be lasting much longer. He's either going to die on the stage or he's going to retire soon, and I don't want that to happen until I actually see him. And he has toured with some of the great Nina Strauss, one of the greatest guitar chicks I've ever heard. She tours with him, and she is phenomenal. Orianthe, who kind of was a pop star, but then she found out she could play guitar, or people found out she could play guitar, and now she's been rocking out with Alice Cooper. Like, he has a whole laundry list of people that he's worked with.
Didn't he make a guest appearance on Use Your Illusion 1 with Guns N' Roses on the song Garden? Remember that song?
It is possible, yeah. I believe
it was actually a pretty good song.
Yeah. So, in conclusion, Alice Cooper, if I had to really sit down and think about it, probably my favorite artist of all time. All of his shit is perfect for me. I could listen to it all the time. Maybe not the 60s stuff, because that's a little like, but I didn't.
It's crazy to think that by the time Trash came around, he already had 20 years into it.
I know.
And how old is that album now?
89. Yeah. 89, so 2024.
Like, the dude's been putting out albums for, 50 years?
Yeah.
55 years?
And he's still going. And if you're in Arizona, check out his restaurant.
Yeah, I was going to mention this. Yeah, we checked that restaurant out twice when we were out there.
Yeah.
Second time because Heart Attack Grill was closed because, ironically, the owner died of a heart attack. I know it's not funny to joke about death, but it's kind of ironic about it.
And then we found out that we were, 2 or 3 days late because Alice was in there?
Yeah.
That sucked. I would have fucking died if we went to Coopertown and he was there.
Dude, you'd have been starstruck.
Fuck yeah, I would have. I would have been one of those obsessive fans. I wouldn't have left the goddamn guy alone.
But is that where he's actually from though? Is that where he lived?
I believe so. And he lives there now too.
He had to run for president. Elected!
And he's an avid golfer too. He loves golf.
And he also used to have a show. It was broadcast nationwide called Nights with Alice Cooper.
Yep.
It was on various stations across the country. I don't know if he still does it or not, but he did it for years.
When he would do metal songs, hairband songs.
He did a little bit of everything on that show.
Yeah. So, love Alice Cooper.
The early days of Bob Rox used to play that show.
Yeah. So, love Alice Cooper. I will see him live, hopefully before he leaves us. And that's all I got to say about that. So, I hope you enjoyed my incessant rambling about Alice Cooper. What's my next all-in playlist? I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Well, my next one's going to be a band that's more modern, so tune in and find out next time.
Yeah, I'll figure something out. But
we'll see ya.